If you want to know how proper equipment and facility maintenance can enhance the member experience and drive growth for gym, this is the episode you want to listen to. Welcome to Top Rated Gym, the podcast that helps ambitious gym owners build profitable and sustainable fitness businesses. I'm your host, Andres Vjovic. And with every episode, we deliver actionable insights, expert advice, and success stories that help you grow your membership, streamline your operations, and achieve financial stability, even if you struggle with marketing challenges, operational overwhelm, or financial limitations in the past. Today, I'm excited to be joined by Blake Bell, the Vice President of Facilities and Equipment at EOS Fitness. Blake is bringing over 11 years of experience in the fitness industry, previously managing 192 Planet Fitness locations and more. At EOS, Blake is responsible for asset management, urgent services, technical supervision, budget control, and facility operations across 104 health and wellness centers. He manages a team that ensures daily operations, health and safety, equipment repairs, and vendor relationships run smoothly. Blake, thank you for joining me today.
Hey, thanks for having me, Andre. I'm excited to be here, excited to share some of my insights with you.
Let's dive into it. You mentioned your commitment to having no more than 5 open work orders per gym, 5 days turnaround time, 99% of equipment working at all times. Can you explain why those specific metrics are so important and how you're able to achieve at such a high level?
Yeah, of course. Those metrics, they're super important because just like other portions of the business, you've got operations, fitness, and sales. You've got to have a standard, a guideline, something to strive for with your facilities and maintenance department. And I was taught this early on by a VP that I worked for who was more so a sales guy, but as facilities, I reported to him and he shared some insight with me. And together we created a boundary or guidelines or expectations for what success looks like in facilities for gyms. That's where we came up with the no more than 5 open work orders for a club, 5 days average aging, 99% equipment working at all times, because that gives us something to manage too. If you don't create those things, you don't have those boundaries in place, what you leave it up to, it's in the air. So what does success look like? So when you put things like that in place for your business, you're defining what success looks like. And having that no more than 5 open tickets, 5-day turnaround, 99% equipment working, we give our teams in the field something to strive for that is correlated directly to the member experience.
Wow, I gotta tell you, starting with KPI is such an amazing way. We started this podcast with the numbers you're aiming because I was impressed. You know your numbers, buddy. You know how much equipment you have in the studio. You know everything. And if you start that in operations with everybody in the company, you're setting up standard. You're setting up expectations. You know what everybody, and if they are on a 70%, 80%, 90%, because I always think when somebody says, what's a success ratio good enough? 80% success is good enough, 90%, 99%. Because if you reverse it, that 1% or 10% of things that don't work create 100% of problems in our business. So we always got to eliminate it as much as possible. So you take very proactive approach to maintenance, like having a rotating upholstery replacement schedule, right? What other proactive measures do you have in place to stay ahead of issues before they impact the member experience?
Oh, buddy, this is one of my favorite questions. So in a role like mine or any facilities role across a lot of different industries, you create what's called an annual maintenance calendar, right? And again, think of it like this. Preventative maintenance is fixing tomorrow's problem today. We're fixing it before it can even happen. And so what you do is you'll create an annual maintenance calendar and you're going to look at your building from a whole. What's everything that you have that could break, that could go down, or that's a depreciating asset? So every building's the same. You have HVAC, electrical, plumbing, structural, and then for us in the fitness industry, equipment. So from there, you would take that down, you break it apart and compartmentalize it. What are the manufacturer recommended preventative maintenance measures each item needs? Each item generally will have a maintenance procedure that needs to be done once every 3 months, along with an annual that needs to be done once a year. It is awesome if you go ahead and take the time to create an annual maintenance calendar and lay those out. And you coordinate those services with your vendors from day one. That way, as your gym operates, those maintenance items are getting taken care of autonomously and self-sufficiently. What that does is that allows you to be on top of your health, life, safety, different liabilities, and preventative maintenance measures. They're going to keep your assets and your buildings up and running clean, crisp, and grand opening ready 24/7.
I know last time you impressed me, you know when you need to change pads and how many pads are being swapped in
Yeah.
every gym and on what times. Like, oh my God, I'm a member of US and I
Mhm.
can be on a customer side.
Yeah.
Like literally, I go twice. One day I will see machine out of order. 2 days I'm back, it's back up and running.
Yeah.
That's cool. And
Yeah.
sometimes you see people opening the treadmills and fixing it up there, and before you know it, it's fixed. Sticker is there just to tell you that it's not working. Who knows when the guy is going to come back?
Mhm.
But this mindset of maintenance is not only helping you keep your customers happy, but liability is a huge issue. If the
Absolutely.
equipment breaks and somebody get hurt, not only you lose a member, you lose money,
Hmm.
huge amount of money. So is this your mindset that you are bringing to the US, or is this a like US process?
No, this is a standard thought process across the facility management board, right? Whether you're managing hotels, ski resorts, restaurants, these are things that you want to be in front of beforehand because it is a huge liability, right? For instance, that preventative maintenance that you're doing, you know what? It may cost you an added $100 a month. But the fact that you have the record of that, the machine has been
Mm.
maintained and you can prove it, could save you $200,000 in the case of a future lawsuit. If you did not have that preventative maintenance record to prove that you are maintaining your equipment per the manufacturer's specifications on a yearly basis. So again, it's a
Mm.
health liability thing, but it's also a member experience thing.
And I gotta say, in theory, this sounds great, but we all know you're not only dealing with equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Swapping a part is an easy thing to do once you know what part to swap.
Mm-hmm.
You're dealing with people. You're not the guy who is going around the gym and every facility and replacing. How do you ensure that everybody follows the same rules? Because they might have excuses. You have 104 kids around who can have their personalities and not follow. How do you scale this kind of mindset and structure that every gym has the same
Yeah, yeah,
maintenance
absolutely.
mindset?
Yeah, so the way that I like to roll it out and the way that I have control over the situation is through highly trained technicians. Ensuring your
Mm.
people in the field are properly trained and also have the integrity to know that they need to maintain the equipment to the company standards and expectations when no one is there and watching. Aside from that, as a VP or someone in a director role, it's your job to also have fail safes in place via SOPs and different monthly inspections to ensure that preventative maintenance procedures are being
Mm.
completed in accordance with our timelines and our annual maintenance calendar. And you also need to stay in clear communication with your team day in and day out for that level of accountability, i.e., morning startup calls with your teams, right? All of your senior leaders across the country. Say you've got 6 states and you have 6 senior technicians in each of those states with technicians underneath them.
Mm.
It's your responsibility to be reaching out to them proactively every morning, touching base on their HLAs for the day, where we're going to be going, and what needs to be taken care of, and making sure they're following the priority standards that we put in place for them.
So you could go a different route, buddy. You could say, listen, I hired people who already have experience
Mm-hmm.
and they know what they do. But no, you took people that you hired and you sent them for certification.
Mm-hmm.
So why was that such a priority? And what benefits did you see through that process?
Yeah, this is something I'm really passionate about. The reason I found it very important to get people certified by manufacturers is because too often in this industry, I was going around and hiring people for very high risk, high liability roles, working on HVAC equipment, working on fitness equipment that could injure somebody if it's not repaired properly. And I see these
Yeah.
companies, they always want high quality repairs and fast service, but they have low quality technicians and they aren't getting the product they want. So it clicked in my mind. I said, every equipment manufacturer offers a certification program. And there's a lot of
Mm.
resources out there to get people brought up to speed and get them certified to be professionals. So, what I've done is I say we owe it to our members and the people coming in our gyms to use our facilities that every person working on our equipment and our building is certified in exactly whatever it is that they are working on. For instance, Life Fitness has a great technical certification program that makes your technicians in-house warranty certified, and then they're also able to do their own warranty claims and get equipment up quicker. But aside from that, they come back from that training feeling confident and inspired and knowing how to fix their equipment way better than they did before. And what you're doing is you are offering your member the most highly qualified service technician for their gym day in and day out. And that allows us to get equipment up quicker. It allows an investment in our people, which is great for employee retention and also recruitment. And so there's a lot of added benefits to those trainings, and I focus very heavily on them. We've actually certified 49 technicians this year across 6 states, meaning we have in-house warranty certified technicians in every state across the country that we operate in. Yeah.
Literally, there's a return investment on every angle here. You got to put the money towards it, right? As a company, you send them, there's a cost to doing this and so on. But let's figure out what would be cost opposite. Like they fixed equipment that fails right after because they improvised it. They used the wrong parts. Then it took them longer because they got stuck. So you need more people. If they're not certified, they don't know what they're doing. Then their satisfaction, being pissed off while they're doing something, working it and making it wrong, is adding on top of it. And then not to talk about the equipment failure, that could increase the risk of injuries. And overall, all of that becomes so much easier when you certify people. And if I'm a person who is getting certified, everybody is looking for the growth in their career. Now I can add something to my LinkedIn. I can add something to my portfolio. I can add this badge certification, whatever you call it, even if it's paper or not, if it's tangible or not, they feel good. They feel growth. They feel their career expanded. Richard Branson said, invest in people so they can leave you at any time. Treat them well enough so they don't want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So literally by you investing in them, you have no certainty if they're going to leave tomorrow. But because you gave them this, they value you as employer or partner or whatever structure is as a highly valuable place to do and desirable place to do. Because they're talking to their colleagues like, hey, I got certification. Did you? The bragging right and so on. So I'm just rephrasing this for the people who are listening. Ask yourself, are you certifying your people? You might be saying, oh, they're certified, but are you working on your employees' knowledge, progress, and expansion? Such an important part. 49. How many of them you totally have?
So I believe we have 64 technicians total, and that's split between building and equipment. So total equipment technicians, I believe it's 24 right now, varying 1 or 2. So 24 technicians on the equipment side, 49 total certifications. And with that, it's not just one certification per tech. We go every brand that we carry in our gyms, I will coordinate a certification training with the manufacturer and we will send our people there. So a lot of my guys have what I call the big 3. You've got Core, Matrix, and Life Fitness. We have multiple technicians across the country who are warranty certified technicians with all 3 of those manufacturers servicing our gyms, because at our locations, we are a mixed match. We have a lot of everything from cryo beds to Life Fitness to Cybex, Hammer Strength, you name it. So again, I owe it to the members. We owe it to the members to offer them best in class service from a maintenance standpoint.
Especially running a gym that's 24/7. You can't stop. You can't shut down to fix things. You gotta keep it fixing while it's running. So you gotta have people who are in and out quickly and swiftly, so they don't disrupt environment. So they're as minimal intrusion to the daily operations as possible. So how you accomplish that? Certifying people. And let's think about if you're starting over, you're part of the gym and you're an employee of the gym, like somebody's listening now, oh my God, I'm so far from this. I'm depending on the mercy of knowledge of the employee. I'm the owner of the gym or the franchise, and I'm not certified. I trust people that they are experts in what they're doing. Where do you start? Do you start with the KPIs like we started this conversation? Do you start with the processes? Give us some breakdown. How would you organize brand new gym that is not doing as good job as the EOS?
Yeah, absolutely. So first you need to step back. You need to create some standards for yourself. What does a good gym look like? What is success from a maintenance standpoint? Are you able to repair equipment within a 5 day turnaround time or whatever that metric looks like for you? From there, we have resources. Luckily, we are in 2025. And if you are small, maybe you don't have the financial resources or the leverage to send your technicians to free certification training based off your partnership with manufacturers, Vimeo, YouTube, online has a lot of great info. But what you can also do is reach out to these manufacturers and you can request a service rep or a technician to come to your gym and teach your staff how to do basic maintenance on your equipment. For instance, say you've only got 6 gyms in a franchise and you're not a 150 unit franchise. You don't have a whole service department running around. You got one guy who's part-time maintenance. You can still invest in him and use those resources to make sure that he has the knowledge and skills that he needs in order to make quick and efficient repairs for your company.
Do you measure how long it takes to fix and repair and get back? I know you're measuring how many orders you have, but speed of recovery.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I'll give you 2 things. So I did equipment repairs myself for 6 years in the field, hands-on. I was certified through JK Lighting for tanning beds, hydro massage, Life Fitness, Cybex, you name it, all of them under the sun. I've done it. And so what I've learned through there is your longest repair on a piece of equipment is about 2 hours. Your hardest job is 2 hours, but that's being granular. The grand scheme of things, you're talking turnaround time on repairs, closing tickets. It's around a 5 to 7 day average. And if you want to beat the 7 day average, you need to be methodical with how you maintain your backstock of parts. You need to have things on hand. You need to be aware of what are your most commonly replaced parts. How many can I keep on hand without going over budget? And what is the number that I need to keep in stock each month in order to know that as soon as this goes down, I can return that repair in a day.
You have spare key from the door. You got to have spare bulb for the light.
Absolutely.
You got to have spare part, being proactive. But I like what you said. Think about where you are now, where you want to be, and make a plan. Education is a huge point. Yes, you can go to the manufacturer, but you can also learn from YouTube. Internet is all over. But it's still the investing. You reminded me on Elon Musk's story when he took over a solar company. And the solar panels had incredible number of parts, like 40 plus parts to put them together. And he said, this is overcomplicated, this is crap, this is stupid. He called it stupid. And he called the main engineer, says, I want you to simplify this. And he started complaining, like, when was the last time you installed your designed unit on the roof? That's not my job. I'm a designer. I'm not an installer. He got fired on the spot. And thing is, if you don't know what you're doing, how can you teach somebody? You are hands-on. You spend years in doing it yourself. So nobody can crap and bullshit you says, hey, it takes 2 days to replace this. Says, I'm giving you 2 hours. Move on. So if somebody comes up and try to tell you the story that you know it's not right, you have experience to say, hey, something's wrong in this story. It doesn't take that long to ship the part, doesn't take that long to repair it. Either you don't have tools or you don't have parts or you have no knowledge. Something is missing. So if you guys are thinking about how to start a problem, you can learn everything yourself in the beginning, but even if you're finding people who are experienced, you cannot win the army being in the back seat. You got to win the problem by being front and having people who knows what they're doing. It's super important. And I'm glad you said that because that definitely shows up your experience about how to manage these problems. And in the past, you probably faced some challenges, buddy, about operations, repairs, and so on. Can you name some of those challenges and what was your approach to get out of the trouble?
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's funny, I could go back and talk about certain challenges with one piece of equipment and things like that, but I'm going to talk a little bit higher level, right? I'm talking multi-unit level. The biggest challenge I think we all face is the disconnect between facilities and operations, right? Because we are a part of the fitness business that is not fitness at all. Okay. So we aren't a forward facing department. We aren't sales. We aren't physical training. We aren't group X and we aren't operations, but we are operations support. Right. But what I say by the challenge there is because without operations, facilities cannot do their job. We are dependent on operations and the other departments within the industry to help us do our job. They are our eyes and ears in the gyms when we cannot be there. And so one of the biggest disconnects and things that I work to overcome consistently is keeping an open line of communication between operations and facilities and working very hard to build a culture where they feel like they are one. Facilities
Mm.
often feels disconnected because it's a lot of tradesmen, it's a lot of hands-on workers who are not front desk. They don't have that experience. And then on the opposite end, you have front desk who is friendly, forward facing, and their job is people focused. Those two things don't necessarily go together, but what I've found for success is if you merge them, if you intertwine facilities and operations as one team that supports one another, and that support meaning operations walking the gym, opening tickets for us, letting us know when things go down, checking on things, doing club walks, even when we're not there, to ensure that they're looking at the facility the same way we would so we can ensure a 10x member experience. But I would say that's one of the biggest struggles we run into.
So you're talking about communication,
Hmm.
about cross-departmental communication. When that is clogged, or everything falls apart.
Hmm.
And have you faced that problem yourself and in the US? And how do you solve it? Like, how do you go to one facility that says, this is, guys, how you should do it. This is how you do it.
Yeah. Okay. So here's a great example.
Hmm.
A massage chair is down, which is a high-end amenity, right?
Yeah.
And an operations manager is reaching out to their maintenance team saying, when is this going to be fixed? We need it up now. Members are complaining. On the back end, we've ordered the part. It's on back order. It's going to take 3 weeks to get it back up. And my team wants to relay that to operations as if that's going to make them feel better. That doesn't. So
Hmm.
a way you fix that is I go to my team and I let them know, look, I understand it's back ordered. I understand we have all the odds working against us, but that doesn't matter to them. Here's what we need to do. We need to give them a timeline. Here's when the part will be here. Here's when it will be fixed. I can guarantee you an update every 3 days on the dot until
Yeah.
this gets resolved. If it's not resolved by X date, we will escalate and here's the solution. Right? So a clear plan of action, a path forward, and pure honesty, no matter if it's good news or bad news, is what I would
Yeah,
suggest.
transparency, honestly, because otherwise people will think, oh my God, these guys in corporate, they don't care. I'm here on the front line, missing things, facing these challenges and complaints.
Hmm.
But people not going to ask questions they get answered too
Hmm.
proactively. So if they know, hey, we are 3 weeks out, and then 3 days after that, they want to see, is this anything changed? Is it now 5 weeks out? And so on. Because, yeah, we are in a huge worldwide supply chain that depends on each other globally, and everything can be disrupted. I know in the Tesla service, sometimes takes 2 months to get repair. 2 months. But they're not going to tell you it's 7 days. They'll tell you it's 2 months, right?
Hmm.
And they'll take the cost of giving you a loaner and says, okay, give us a car, we'll give you another one. Let's drive this one for 2 months. It might not be the same, but it's the best we can do.
Hmm.
So communication, transparency, being honest with the people and keeping them updated. That's freaking awesome, man. So somebody is like, what do you recommend gym professionals to learn more about these best practices? And you already told about YouTube, Vimeo videos and so on. What about certain resources that you go after? Like, how did you get yourself immersed into this world at the beginning,
Yeah.
at the early stage?
I'm going to be honest, I fell into it. I was a handy young man growing up. My first job, I built motorcycles, and it's something I fell into. But I do work with a lot of people nowadays who don't necessarily have experience, but they've got the great personality, and I'm willing to train them in these certain
Mm.
facets. And to be honest, in what I do and in what we do in facilities, hands-on training, getting involved, getting in there and making mistakes, not being afraid to try is my best suggestion for anyone looking to learn more about these things because there's so much technicality, there's so much technical nuance to all of
Mm.
these different things. Every item has 100 different moving parts with different specs and measurements, right? It's a lot to consume. So the best thing you can do is get in there and learn. Don't be afraid to Google. Don't be
Yeah.
afraid to call people. Each company you work with or for or support in your gym has a technical support line. Utilize it. They're there every day with all of the knowledge and wisdom you need to handle things on your own. I learned a lot like that. I
Yeah.
remember I went and got my tanning bed certification, level 3. I'm certified to program tanning beds, install them for Planet Fitness. Great stuff. But guess what? I had the certification, but only 6 months of real experience in the field. I didn't know what to do. So from
Mhm.
there, I learned on the job by calling tech support and using those resources at hand to get in there, make mistakes, and then learn on the back end.
Yeah, just don't give up. When you have a problem,
Mhm.
face it and fix it. There's a solution to every problem. There's a repair for every challenge.
Mhm.
I think a mindset what you have, you're a handyman and you don't mind getting your hands dirty,
Mhm.
but you also believe, hey, this is just a freaking man-made equipment and it's here to be repaired and I gotta figure out what's going on. There's
Mhm.
sometimes challenges with equipment and you can't figure it out. I remember in the road when I was a student, I was working in ATM in business. It was my part-time job. And these ATMs are simple machines. You have readers, you have screens, you have dispenser, you have cash, cassettes, and so on. But one day I'm walking in and it just doesn't work. Works on one test, on second doesn't. One works, one doesn't. And I replaced every part with a brand new one and it still behaved the same. And my boss said at this time, just bring the whole ATM back. We'll swap it. We don't know. It has a weird behavior. We don't know what's going on, but I couldn't stand it, my failure. So after work, I picked up my bag and I went to the place and I disassembled whole ATM on the freaking street into pieces. And I found that a rat ate a cable inside. And the cable that was harness connecting all the parts was gone and it was touching the wire. Sometimes works, sometimes does. I was like, damn, right? Simple things, but you got to figure it out. You got to think about what can be a solution and just go after that.
Mhm.
Now, is there any good sources, like somebody who's really curious about this? There's a learn by doing it, learn by solving problems, listening to the podcast it yourself. Probably people are now nodding, oh, I'm having different expectations for me and my team just by listening to you now.
Mhm.
What turnaround, expectations, KPIs. What else do you track in your daily, weekly, monthly routine? Like what are the important KPIs for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I do a weekly report that I pull every Monday, and we cover a handful of different things. One of them being how many open tickets do you currently have? The second one being how many have we completed month to date? The
Hmm.
third being how many are overdue? And then the
Hmm.
fourth being what is our average turnaround time per location? Right? So those, if you can pay attention to those month over month over month, you will start to create a pattern that you can
Hmm.
recognize and see where your inefficiencies are, or it will alert you to the fact that, wait a second, this month we closed X amount of tickets. Let's say this month we closed 1,000, this month we closed 500, and our turnaround time went from 4 days to 8 days. What's
Hmm.
going on? Is it supply chain? It gives you that insight to start investigating and figure out what's really holding up the process. So those are really important ones. Yeah.
Weekly, every Monday, number of tickets, completed month to date, what
Hmm.
is the overdue, and
Yeah.
average turnaround time. So trending, no matter where you are, it's like you got to know where you're going and make a trend to be in a positive way. What happens when the machine break down and nobody reports it? Like I know sometimes I go to the gym in the
Mhm.
past, I see treadmill is not working the way I want, I just skip that gym and I go to another one.
Yeah.
And I know in certain gyms, it used to be like for 15 days like that. Nobody reports it. Like, how do you get insights when machine is broken and because you have hundreds of pieces of equipment? What's the fastest way to get to know the problem before
Yeah, so that
it's
is
too
where we implement club walks. That's what we try to be really heavy on is club walks from our operations managers to catch things when we're not there. So we have a technician per every 5 locations, meaning that a technician isn't going to be on site every day to report these items. And what you're expressing, it does happen. It's the worst. Sometimes it'll be a district manager. They're reaching out saying, hey, this seems like it's been down. Can you check in the system? I check the system. It's not in there, right? And so what you
Mhm.
do is you try to put processes in place that are a checklist you would put in some sort of system, your CMMS system, in which you track your maintenance items. And you want your staff members to be walking the gym floor and inspecting equipment daily in order to try and mitigate that. But no one's perfect and we're all human, so it does slip by.
Yeah.
But that is where you want to try and get in front of that the best you can. And that's where that communication between operations, that partnership with operations comes in, because you want any
Mm.
staff member in that gym to report an issue when they see it because they want to
Mm.
get it up as badly as we do.
Got it. I put something. In software development, we develop software for 11 years. In a relevant term in software is bug in the system. You create something and it doesn't work the way you intended to. It breaks down. So sometimes we found that 15 days after it happens and affected already 20, 30 people. So we decided let's reward people for reporting the bugs. So let's reward people instead of complaining this machine is not working or moving to another one. In my case, this software feature is not working. We put there, get a gift card. Let us pay you a free lunch when you report something. Oh my God. We got people in the world who were literally looking for something to go wrong to repair it immediately.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. Instead of going and delivering bad experience, you can figure out saying, hey, thank you for reporting. Appreciate this. Here's something. All right. And then you turn bad experience into good one. It's almost like you go to a hotel and you says, oh my God, this room is bad. The hotel will give you replacement and usually an upgrade for helping them understand what happens in that room or whatever experience was. So checking it out and encouraging, I think it's a good way to do it as people feel rewarded. Okay, I feel good. Sometimes they'll say, hey, you know what? You did us a huge favor. If you didn't say that, who knows how long we will go without noticing it.
Yeah.
It can be squeak, it can be some annoying little thing, it can be something that's clumsy, still work, but not as well. Why not? People will feel friendly and part of the team if they do it. Tell us about this, buddy. This is very valuable information.
Yeah.
Is there any specific industry related conferences, podcasts, books you would recommend? Something that somebody in your position would go and, okay, this is the place where I belong, or this is the knowledge I want to take in. Something that helps people like yourself more efficient.
So for resources, like specific resources, there is a great certification program out there for any interested that's online. It's called BOC. You can get a building operator certificate, and it will teach you a lot about facilities management, and it's an online course. It's very easy to use and free to look up this information. Aside from that, the manufacturers that create equipment and different things in the gyms, they all have what's called their knowledge base, right? Core has a knowledge base. Wellness Space, like who makes cryo lounge and hydro beds, they have one as well. You can go in and access all of their technical documents for free. You can even download their preventative maintenance and annual maintenance documents that picture by picture, step by step, walk you through how to maintain equipment, and you can download those and keep them as your own. Those are great resources as well. Aside from that, if anybody can get into the technical certification trainings offered by manufacturers, there's great knowledge in there as well. Back when I was with Planet Fitness, used to even send some GMs to these trainings, and they were able to learn so much, not necessarily because they were going to go back and be hands-on, but because now they were aware, and now they were able to come back with a facilities focused mindset and also a new perspective on how maintenance works in their gyms. But those are a couple. It's really, there's not a ton out there that's specifically catered to
That's what I'm saying,
management.
because
Yeah.
it's very, very unique and you're left on your own. But your three advices are brilliant. You have certification program, BOC, building operator certificate, I believe you said. Go and learn on your own. Manufacturers. If you don't know that, figure it out. There's always a website link, log in something. And then yourself, your team, even GM, send them out. Because when you send them out, they get certified. They know the stuff. It's one less thing you need to worry about. That's awesome, man. And for the people who are now thinking like, oh, I love this guy. Blake is awesome. My God, this is a totally new world. And people are listening and learning about EOS and opportunity and workers. So I want to give people opportunity to learn how to connect with you. So what would be the best way for somebody to learn about what you're doing, EOS, your world, or maybe there are technicians out there who are looking at this, like, oh,
Yeah.
God, I want to work for this company. How do I get in touch?
Yeah, absolutely, guys. I'm super active on LinkedIn. I do a lot of celebration posts. I'm constantly posting about updates from certification trainings to big shout outs for the most clean, crisp grand opening ready club I've ever seen. Find me on LinkedIn, Blake Bell. You can also find me at bbell@eosfitness.com. I'm available for any maintenance questions, operations questions, how you can partner the two together, whatever you need.
I gotta say, Blake, you are something incredible. I wanna express appreciation on behalf of the whole fitness wellness community here. say thank you for your words of wisdom, your contribution today, and incredible impact you're making for this community.
Yeah.
Thank you for being you and for sharing all of your wisdom today. And for you guys who are listening, you know what to do. You got to click like and share this with the people you know. People that are either in your business who are saying, oh my God, how do I take this to the next level? Or maybe somebody who is challenged or complained recently about the world of fitness and manufacturers and equipment or operations. They'll be grateful for you for doing it. Blake, thank you so much for being today with us on the show.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Andre. I appreciate it, man.
If you are a gym owner looking to become a top-rated gym in your area, visit topratedgym.com and grab our free 30-day reputation boost. That's topratedgym.com. I'll add it to the show notes for you. Don't forget to share this with your friends. Stay strong, stay motivated, and keep pushing your gym to the top. Until next time, this is Andre signing off.